For the 2024 election. Joining us now is somebody who was closely associated with the drafting of this manifesto, the co-chair of the Manifesto Committee and Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Thank you very much, ma'am, for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. First things first, what was the thought process? What were the big priority areas that the party wanted to focus on, the Manifesto Committee wanted to focus on? What did the Prime Minister tell you? Rajnath Singh ji today in the morning when he was talking, he said Prime Minister was consulting on a daily basis with the Manifesto Committee, even chairing meetings late into the night. What were the 2 or 3 broad priority areas that he asked you to focus on?
Well, first thing first, the Viksit Bharat 2047 was something which was clearly in his mind, and he wanted the manifesto to reflect the fact that in the 10 years that we have provided the basis for what we can take India to the next level, meaning we should lay the foundation for taking India through the next 25 years to reach the destination which is developed India. So that is the first thing which was in his mind, and he ensured that there are indicators for the steps that we are planning to take Indian economy further. But equally, his emphasis was that we should not relentlessly pursue the welfare schemes. In a way, I don't want to use welfare as a word here. It was more to empower the poorest of the poor and make sure that we are able to support our farmers and provide enough opportunities to skill themselves for the youth, and above all, and very centrally to this whole thing, to keep women not just at the center of policy making, but to keep them up front there so that it will be women led all through. So these 4 groups on whom he has been talking a lot in the recent past is to ensure that through them, women belonging to various castes or youth belonging to rural urban areas, irrespective of the caste differences or the income differences, farmers across the country, particularly the small farmers, particularly the kind of farmers who grow Shri Anna, that is the coarse grains, millets and the other superfoods. So emphasis was on these. So everything that we had to do was very clearly put through this filter and tested if it will stand the test of time. Above all, I should recognize more than 15 lakh inputs which had come from the people of India saying we'd like you to put this aspect in the budget, and in the Sankalp Patra and so on. So we've given a lot of emphasis for those inputs which have come also, and the Prime Minister was keen that we go through each one of them, and there was a large team sitting and sifting through the inputs which had come.
So, ma'am, there are 2 ends of the pyramid. One at the top end of the pyramid, the manifesto talks about, Viksit Bharat, about putting a manned mission into space, having India's own space station, EV manufacturing hub. And at the bottom end of the pyramid, as you said, there is a welfare stamp, no doubt, whether it is extending the free food, free ration scheme to 80 crore people, whether it is, 3 crore new homes for the poor, and so on and so forth. Isn't there a contradiction between the two? On the one hand, you have a pathway to Viksit Bharat. On the other hand, you also realize that everything is not hunky-dory.
Well, I don't want to put it as it's not hunky-dory. It is a matter of reality that we have a section of our population which still needs to be empowered. And that is why you have the PM Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, which is extended for another 5 years. You also have a section of our population which is the farming community, particularly the small farmers, who against all odds, some man-made odds, some nature-made odds like the climate, extreme weather conditions, are giving us food on our table. So are we not going to support them? And therefore we made sure that in order to empower the farmers to be able to better perform in their farms, we need to get technology there, get the drones going there, ensure that fertilizer, the dependence on imported fertilizer be brought down, and subsidize fertilizer so that the farmer is not paying through his nose for an essential input. So, thought has been applied to empowering sections of Indian society which with dignity intact can grow into the system and contribute to the system. Whereas if you talk from the point of view of only Garibi Hatao, you don't seem to understand and appreciate the nuance that the policy should take in order to empower them. That is why we have gone to talking about it not from the point of view of welfare, but more from the point of view of empowering them. So the other end of the pyramid that you're talking about is not also to be taken for granted, because that is constantly requiring of legislative and other support, and that is important for India's transformative change.
So, right after the BJP released its manifesto this morning, within an hour or so, the Congress party also held a press conference. They are calling this not a Sankalp Patra, but a Jumla Patra. Mr. Modi's government needs to give an account as to what happened to the promises you made in 2014 and 2019, whether it is 2 crore jobs, doubling farmers' income, etc., etc. What would you say to that?
Well, for an opposition, what else will they do? If only they go into the details of what is in the Sankalp Patra. We have not just put one promise over the other, 14th promise and then 19th promise over it, and then now 24th promise over it. For each one of the Sankalp Patra and the manifesto that was released, we have accounted for what we have done, what we have completed. Now this 15 lakh, which is not come, nobody promised this 15 lakh, but yet we did say that we will pursue the black money holders and take action on them. That is continuing to happen, and when action happens, they accuse you of not having caught black money sufficiently, but when Sankalp Patra time comes, they say, where is the black money? That is why all the action is happening. You see tons and tons of money being stacked at home. Even all of them are coming out. So if it is that, the next thing is the kind of promises that we've given here are after laying the foundation for a transforming India, for an India which can move towards Viksit Bharat, and everything that has been said has been till now fulfilled. Now, so when we say Modi ki guarantee, it means every guarantee which is given in the Sankalp Patra is guaranteed to be fulfilled, and that is why we have given the title Modi ki guarantee, meaning here's a person who's the Prime Minister of this country, whose hallmark has it been that he will fulfill and show that he's implemented everything that has been promised.
The opposition has also framed this election, the 2024 election. The BJP is saying this is the pathway to Viksit Bharat. The opposition is saying democracy itself is at stake. And one point that they continuously keep asking is, why are these agencies, IT, CBI, ED, etc., taking disproportionate action against opposition? Are there no allegedly corrupt members in the BJP? And whenever some opposition member joins the BJP, then they are saying it's like a washing machine. How would you respond to that?
That's not true, Zaka. Let me remind them that many of the cases on people on whom action is now precipitating are those on whom the cases were filed during the UPA era itself. Many of the cases are their time cases. Now when CBI or ED are given their due independence, they pursue the cases because they have to prove that they have not taken cases up frivolously. And if there are evidence, and it is not for you or me to judge it, it is the court which is judging. The cases which are being taken up in the courts and the evidences which are being put before the honorable courts stand out, speak for themselves. So action is inevitable. I would think that they should now look at their period when the public and some of the ministers themselves called the CBI a caged parrot. Why was it a caged parrot? Because if it was given its due independence, their own ministers in the UPA cabinet would have been caught first place. They wouldn't want that embarrassment. So we have nothing to fear. Prime Minister Modi has always led, as a Chief Minister and as a Prime Minister, a corruption-free government. So what have we got to fear? But they had a fear in their mind, and that's why the independence of CBI and ED were curtailed.
Ma'am, you've just come back from a campaigning trip to Tamil Nadu. Obviously, your party is really working hard on the ground, trying to make inroads, make a dent in what has been the Dravidian fortress over the last 50 years. The Dravidian parties, on the other hand, both DMK and ADMK are saying the primary contest is still between DMK and ADMK, and that BJP at best will come a number 3 party. What leads you to believe that the lotus will bloom this time in Tamil Nadu?
Well, first of all, the kind of anti-incumbency there is against the ruling party. I recognize this election is not for the state assembly. It is certainly for the parliament. But the anti-incumbency which is already set in, at least 2 years prior to the election for the state assembly, is so sharp, it is so in your face, the kind of things that the government has been doing. Not just the liquor which is flowing like water, water is scarce but liquor is all abundant. They have now promoted drugs. The first family in Tamil Nadu has been directly, it is alleged that they are directly involved with the fellow who has been arrested for international racket running drugs. He has even produced some film with a member of the family. So with these kind of allegations being thrown at them, people are frustrated, people are angered. You never get a reply from the members of the first family, the chief minister or his son who's as good as a deputy chief minister, who speak about every issue but not on these primary issues, whether it is Kachativu or whether it is the traditional fishing rights of the Tamil fishermen, or whether the 30,000 crores about which one of their own ministers alleged. You don't get any reply. So the people are looking for a corruption-free representation. They also want members of parliament sitting and talking about Tamil Nadu, from Tamil Nadu, who can really take up the cause in a transparent way.
All right, Nirmala, Sitharaman ji, thank you very much for joining us here on CNN News 18 and explaining to our viewers the thought process behind the BJP Sankalp Patra. So the Union Finance Minister, she was also the co-chair of the Manifesto Committee, explaining that how both ends of the pyramid, at the top end, the Manifesto talks about making a Viksit Bharat, about launching India's own space station from Chandrayaan to Gaganyaan, and at the bottom end of the pyramid, also talking about the welfare schemes that are continuing and that are being promised to the poor.